Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Super Power Review. We got another fantastic episode today. You guys have been really enjoying these episodes with cool topics to talk about. So today's topic is, what if Marvel owned all the rights to its characters? And for this show, I brought on, yet again, the Canadian Geek. He has returned.
What up?
What up? So since our last video together talking about the downfall of Marvel hit so big, I thought it was only right to bring you back on to talk about this topic.
Cool.
So in a recent Wizard World con, Stan Lee talked, I quote, says, "Sooner or later, they're going to get the rights back to all our characters. They're working on it. And they're still making X-Men movies and stuff. Don't worry about it. You'll get more Marvel superheroes than you'll have time to look at in the next few years." I don't know. Is this shooting too high, Chad?
I don't know if it's shooting too high, but as you know, I told you before the show, I got my little brown paper bag of notes here, and it's not a matter of can they do it? It's, do they want to pay the money? Because, you know, Fox, Disney and Marvel, they could afford to buy the rights back. But Fox knows what they have on their hands. And they're going to want to be paid for the money they're going to lose down the road. That's not, you know, people think, oh, well, it's not that. It's they want the money now. No. Fox knows that if Disney Marvel buy X-Men or buy Wolverine or buy Spider-Man outright, because they're kind of partnered now with that. But
right.
They know that if they buy that property, down the road in 5, 6, 7 years, they're going to make how many billions of dollars? So, you know, George Lucas was kind of got off light selling for $4 billion for Star Wars. They've already almost made that back. 2 movies, they've made over $3 billion. So they've already made almost their money back on what they spent just on 2 movies. So Fox and Sony and whoever else are going to want to be paid for the money they're not going to get. Because, like, and you know, really quickly, I made a quick list. We'll just use the X-Men movies. Just under $1 billion it cost them to make every X-Men movie except the 3 Wolverines. Mm-hmm. They only made about $2.5 billion. So after expenses, about $1.5 billion. Marvel and Disney spent $560 million on 3 Captain America movies, and they've made $2.2 billion. 3 movies against 6, half the budget to spend. More or just almost as much made. So they're both making money. And Fox obviously seems to be, you know, Fox and Sony seem to be like, yeah, you're making more than us, but we're still making money. So for us to lose that revenue stream, your guys are going to have to supplement it with something else.
Right. Well, you know, okay, so let's break it down even more here. Okay, so Fox owns Fantastic Four, anything X-Men related. And then Sony and Marvel are being nice, sharing Spider-Man, okay? Now, I believe that Marvel has a better chance buying the rights back from the Fantastic Four from Fox, and I'm going to tell you why, because obviously every movie that's come out from Fox, any Fantastic Four title, has been a flop. It sucks. Everything about Fantastic Four sucks. So I think they have a better chance of buying the rights from the Fantastic Four, but I don't see any time, I don't see in any near future Marvel buying back anything X-Men related from Fox, because Logan was a huge success. Now Deadpool's a success, and I'm sure Deadpool 2's, they're loving making all that money. And they're not going to let that go, because it is racking in money. And if they were to sell it, which they won't, it would be, the price tag would be way too high.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned, I actually did research on Fantastic Four. I didn't write it down, though. But none of the movies technically flopped. The first one made a good chunk of money. The second one made not as much. The third one only made like $30 million over what they spent to make it. So if there's any franchise they could probably try to buy from them, would be Fantastic Four. Because I'd love it if Disney and Marvel grabbed Fantastic Four and grabbed a guy like Spielberg or Ridley Scott or someone who has a kind of vision with, because Fantastic Four is very sci-fi. It's like how Doctor Strange was very mystical superhero. Fantastic Four is very sci-fi-ish in the comic world. So it'd be cool to see them give that movie to a director like that who has vision, and here's $150 million. Nothing crazy, but here's 150. Go. Have fun. Come back to us in a year. We'll see what we have.
To be quite honest, okay, I could care less if Fantastic Four was bought back by Marvel.
Me neither.
I mean, for Fox, keep it. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, if Marvel really wants it that bad. But I really think, Stan said this at an interview in Wizard World. And to be quite honest, obviously nobody wants to see anything happen to Stan, right? But let's face it,
No.
Stan Lee is, 93, 94?
He's 94, yeah.
94, okay? The man is,
He's on the back of 9 of life.
Yeah, exactly. I really feel like Stan wants to see this happen. I think he wants to see all his characters come back to Marvel before something does happen to him.
I think he wants to see all his characters come back because he's the dummy who sold them all, back in the day.
He was a dummy for selling them, but in order to save Marvel, he really had to do it.
It was a necessary decision. But like you said, though, the price tag, they would literally have to hand Fox a check, a blank one, and Fox would say, "Okay, we'll let you know when you've paid back your debt," because, like you said with Logan, I don't even think I looked it up. It wasn't even 100. It was what? Let me check my notes here. Logan cost $97 million to make. They made $616 million, 5 times above their budget after expenses.
Yeah.
And Deadpool, and who knows how the New Mutants, because they're getting better. I think Fox, even the Amazing Spider-Mans, the 2 of them, which people hated, they still made a boatload of money.
I like.
So I think they're.
I kind of liked the Amazing. I somewhat liked the first one, but the second one's crap. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh no worries. The first one was good. The second one wasn't. But so they've kind of noticed, and the budgets kept going down, and so they've kind of realized in the last 4 or 5 years, or 3 or 4 years, okay, let's spend more or less money, and let's try to make a better movie with less money, and it's worked out so far. And Deadpool didn't have a very big budget. I don't think it had what was it, 60 million maybe, or 70?
I don't have the numbers in front. I have no clue.
Yeah, and then they got like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. So I think the only thing Marvel can do is hope that Fox tries to make another, crap bomb, and then try to say, okay, how about you let us have this property? And maybe like a game of Monopoly, slowly pick and choose. Oh, I'll take this one off your hands now. Well, and they probably have to overpay them. But, I would like to see them go more like they do with Spider-Man and Homecoming and Civil War. If you don't want to give up power, everybody meet in the middle. Disney pays half, Marvel or Fox pays half. Fox can choose some stars. Disney can choose the people behind the camera. You know what I mean? Like they
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah. But I totally think that Marvel buying back Fantastic Four is possible, okay? And now Fox is also coming out with a solo Doctor Doom movie, which I don't really care. But I really feel like Fantastic Four is possible for them to buy back. I think even Spider-Man can be possible to buy back, but I don't think that. I think X-Men is untouchable. I really don't think X-Men could really buy back the rights. I don't think Marvel could buy back the rights for X-Men.
No, I don't think they could. And they're just, Steven Spielberg said before, he's like, oh, this comic book thing is a craze and it'll fade away. And I don't think it will, because there's always new stories. That's the one thing different. Like Westerns had kind of a shelf life. World War II movies have a shelf life because you can only tell the same battle story over and over and over. But comic books, every couple of years, whatever it is, there's always new stories, always new characters. And with that comes new actors and new directors and new writers to kind of put their spin on it.
All new ideas, baby. All new ideas.
Exactly. So it's always a revolving thing. So yeah, every 1 out of every 7 or 6 or 7 movies, you might get one that sucks. but you're still getting 5 or 6 good movies.
Right.
So it's gonna, it would just be nice to see them. I don't think they're gonna either, because it's just they make too much money.
They're making way too much money, and Marvel could never pay them the money that Fox could potentially make for making another Deadpool movie, or it's all gonna rack up. And now we have X-Force coming out, and if that does well, which I'm sure it will, there's gonna be an X-Force 2. You know what I mean? So all that money that they could potentially make, I don't think Marvel could even cover. I really don't.
No, I don't think they could have, and it just sucks that they decided to come together like on Spider-Man: Homecoming and Civil War. They came together after, at the end of like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine career, because it would have been awesome to see him fight the Hulk.
Well, go ahead.
I'm just saying, or the X-Men interact, even not fight, but interact with the Avengers in a movie quickly, a cameo, whatever.
Exactly.
And now it's like, I think we'll see more of that. I think it'll be more from Marvel, maybe Fox's side more than Marvel's. They'll say, hey, do you guys want to get together? Can we introduce this character into this movie? Because it helps both sides.
I would have loved to seen those two characters fight as well, because as we all know, the Incredible Hulk and Wolverine are like water and oil when it comes into the comic books, especially that great issue of Incredible Hulk 340. But I'm glad you brought up Hugh Jackman, because I have a quote from Hugh Jackman about this pertaining to this issue as well. I don't know what the legal situation is. Why don't these companies come together? Why isn't it possible? Because personally, I would love to mix it up with Iron Man and kick his ass. It would be great. So he would like to fight Iron Man, but my next question is if these companies were to work together, which I think they should, because just think about it. Just think about all the missed opportunities and all the money they could make if they did bring all these characters together. You know how pumped people would be if Marvel and Fox got together, and if we saw the X-Men and Infinity War, or if we did see the Hulk fight Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, those would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. And they're not doing it because of all these, all these copyrights.
Yeah, and like, can you imagine if they, 2020 Avengers versus X-Men? People's heads would literally explode.
Exactly.
And I don't know if it's about the copyright. I think it's just people want credit almost. It's like, well, we wanted to make it our movie, and no, we wanted to make it our movie. And
right.
It sucks because at the end of the day, it's like, I hate to say it, but Marvel and Disney are a little bit better at making them. But at the same time, they're also kind of a different film. You'll never see Marvel and Disney make a Deadpool, So it would just be nice, and I think that's the problem, is Disney is very, very protective on what their brand, what their image is.
And they have every right to be.
Yeah, and just as a side note of how protective they can be, ABC or NBC is one of their subsidiaries. They had a comedian who had a show. In real life, his friend has had run-ins with the law, like minor stuff, but run-ins with the law, and he was going to be on the show. They told him, take him off the show or you're not getting your show.
Yeah.
Because of how it's going to look on them. So as much as I'd like to see them get together, certain characters it'll work. I really don't think it would work for X-Men, because they're very, kind of brutal and more like Deadpool. They're a little more blood and guts and a little more visceral and a little more, kind of just gritty, where the Avengers, as though they can be a lot of action and blood or whatever, they're not as much of the kind of into the trenches, blood and guts kind of look to them.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
It will be interesting to see what happens. I think it all depends. I think Fox is definitely hoping the next couple movies don't flop, because then, you remember too, it's toys, toy lines, lunchboxes, T-shirts.
Toy lines.
All that takes effect.
That's a whole other story. That's a whole other story. But I really just feel like it was a huge missed opportunity to have one of probably the best Wolverines we'll ever have was Hugh Jackman, and all sorts of other casts that are in the X-Men movies. I really feel like it was a huge missed opportunity to have these characters interact with each other.
Yeah, definitely. And we saw that we saw Marvel kind of, I guess, give up a few points or kind of yield when it came to Spider-Man because they wanted Spider-Man. Marvel, Disney wanted Spider-Man in Civil War, and then a Fox got a little too crazy with asking for too much money.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you remember this, but then Disney, Marvel said, no, fine. We'll use Black Panther instead of Spider-Man. We're looking for a way to bring him into the MCU anyways. And then Fox said, okay, well, let's work together here. You know?
Yeah.
So if they could work together somehow and
I really
meet halfway.
You know, they really need to find a way to work together because it would really make everybody happy. Okay, you're not going to be missing out on money. Okay, it's making the fans more excited because again, it's literally all about money. It really is.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if you're making the fans happier, you're going to earn more money. It's plain and simple to that.
Yeah, exactly, and I think they're worried about who's going to get all the money from the Funko Pops because there'll be 17 variants of each character for those, and it's just it's all about money. That's all it ever is about. And Marvel, like, they took away, they stopped making Fantastic Four comic books. They stopped making toys.
Yeah, well, because Fantastic Four is so outdated when it comes to the 21st century. Okay, Fantastic Four was cool back in the 60s, 70s. Okay, it doesn't hold up anymore. It really doesn't, and that's why I really don't care about anything that's Fantastic Four related. I really think Fantastic Four is one of the weakest comic book groups or teams that has ever existed.
Yeah, no, I was never a huge fan. I was just saying, like, they did those in an effort to kind of make Fantastic Four stock kind of go lower so they could eventually say, well, why don't we buy it back from you? It's not doing good. There's no comic books. There's no toys. There's no T-shirts. The movies are horrible. How about we'll give you some money and you give us this one property back? And then, and if anybody could, Disney could reboot it, do a hard reboot, reimagine the characters if you want.
And that's the only way to do it. That's the only way it would be done right because, Fox will just keep beating it to death like Sony did with Spider-Man, okay? Yeah. Where it would have to take Marvel to come in, buy the rights, and make it done, and have it be done right.
Yeah, exactly. Because if Fox keeps doing them, we're eventually going to get a tap dancing Ben Grimm, in a suit, just like.
I want to get into Spider-Man too because again, Sony sharing Spider-Man with Marvel, and I want to share my opinion about that too. Why I think it's also possible for Marvel to buy back the rights of Spider-Man from Sony is that because now all Sony is doing is making villain movies, Spider-Man villain movies, and I don't really see those going to be doing too well. I'm excited for Venom. I'm interested to see about what that's going to be like, but I hear they're doing a Silver and Dagger movie, and that doesn't sound interesting at all.
No, not is it Silver and Dagger or Cloak and Dagger?
I'm sorry, yeah, Cloak and Dagger. Thank you.
Yeah. I think with the Spider-Man though, I think it's a little bit. I think they're kind of taking the page out of Marvel a little bit, and they're looking at the end game because I think we're going to see Venom, maybe a standalone Carnage movie, but I hear he's supposed to be in Venom. Then they're talking about Sinister Six, so this could all be building towards another big Spider-Man in 3 or 4 years, like they did with like they've been doing for 10 years with Thanos. Who knows? Like you said before, even Spider-Man, they've made a lot more money than they've lost. So I think the price tag for Marvel to get it would be astronomical. And I'd love to see it. I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, but I love the movies. But for the most part, it would just be it's just they'd have to sit there and see what they want to do and if it's worth it for them, right? Because you got to take. It's also a big, even though it's almost a guaranteed you're going to make money, they could take a hit. Something could happen. Nobody cares about Spider-Man anymore, and they just spent $5 billion getting Spider-Man back.
They could take a huge hit, but does that mean that Marvel's one step closer to buying back the rights for Spider-Man, or does it not matter at all?
Yeah, I meant Marvel. Like if Marvel did buy them, and then it takes a dump, they're like, oh well, what did we waste our money for? Yeah, and then Fox is sitting over there laughing their asses off. But. I would just think if they're talking. Of course, they're always talking. I'm sure backdoor deals are always happening, and I'm sure Feige and the other guy are probably always texting the guys over at Fox going, "You want to sell? You want to sell? Do you want to sell today? Do you want to sell today?"
Let's make a deal.
yeah, exactly. And I just think it'd be nice if they have no intentions of selling. Say, look, guys, you're not getting them back. You won't pay us what we want, and which is fine. But then come together and make them like you did Spider-Man: Homecoming. Get together and say, okay, here's our guys. Here's what we want to do. You pick the actors, we'll pick the directors, or whatever it is, whatever the details are, work them out. Because I think if they were to start doing that, and they were making the money like Spider-Man: Homecoming did, and they were seeing the results of them working together, they'd both be like, okay, well, let's try another one. Let's try bringing the X-Men into an Avengers movie, or doing a spin-off series of like X-Men, because you couldn't do X-Men versus Avengers maybe in a 2-part movie. Let's do that together. And because there'll always be things, and then maybe Fox will be like, okay, listen, we want to do a Humans movie that's going to be way better than that crappy show they've made. But we'd like, wouldn't it be cool if Thor and Black Bolt had a fight? Okay, we'll lend you Thor. You lend to Spider-Man, we'll lend you Thor. And
that's working together. And that's working. It's not even about buying back the rights. How much money do you want for this character back? Because we want this character back. Again, it's all about working together. If they just work together, everybody would be happy, even including the fans.
Oh yeah, definitely. If they announce like X-Men Avengers, take my money, take all the money, because everybody wins. The fans win, they win. The fans win,
and plus, what also these comic book movies have even proven, is that people who go to watch these movies aren't even huge comic book fans either. They just want to see a really good movie. You know what I mean? So even that is even on hype too. Like, oh, you know what? I don't read comic books, but you know what? That movie looks really good. I'm gonna go see it.
Oh, exactly. And especially with comic book movies, depending on what the movie is, and like in my experiences since Iron Man, started, or even back in the day when Blade was big, you usually, depending on the movie, you'll get at least guys like me, fathers. I'll see it twice. I'll bring my kid, my son to see Avengers, as long as it's not too crazy. And then I'll go back on my own, because you can't, when you have kids, you're, okay, guys, don't touch each other, don't yell, here's the popcorn, whatever.
Hey, shut up over there.
Yeah, but you do, though. You'll get lots of people men and women who grew up with comics, who bring their kids, and then like on a Tuesday, they're like, oh, well, it's cheap night at the theater. I'm doing nothing. Kids are in bed. Hey, honey, I'm going to go and watch another flick. And that's what you get, because whether you like comics or not, if you know who Batman is, they show a trailer with him punching fools in the face. You're like, oh, that looks cool. I want to see that.
I'm going to go see that.
And then it gets you engrossed in what's going on. And Marvel's obviously really good at doing that, because they've made a lot of non-comic book fans because of the movies.
It's exactly hit the nail right on the head. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. So like you said, if they could just come together and just, guys, everybody make our money, we'll all go home and sleep on piles of money with many beautiful women. It's
trust me, we would all benefit, and we would all be happier if we saw the characters interact with other characters that we loved. It's all about coming together, and I think that would be the best. Not even, buying the rights out, because then that gets just too expensive. It's just about working together, working out deals, and being able to work together and make the fans happy. That's all it should really be about. Chad,
exactly.
We're down to our last couple of minutes. Anything else you would like to say about this to wrap it up?
It's just too bad, because I'm a huge Wolverine fan. Like, I got Batman behind me, but I'm a huge Wolverine fan, and you got the shirt on. And like even Hugh Jackman said, if they had made a deal so Hulk and Wolverine could have fought, he would have done another one. He said I would have taken another year off to get in shape, because it's taking longer and longer for him to get in shape for that role, because he's almost 50. But he said, I would have came out of retirement for that movie. But now that he's done, and they killed him.
And again, that's a huge missed opportunity. A huge missed opportunity. Chad, exactly. I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. Thanks was
for having me.
Great topic to talk about. So thank you so much for being on and being patient for today.
No worries.
I will see you soon, my friend. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, see you guys later.
See you later. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode. If you liked this video or the topic, please make sure you hit the like video. And if you want to see more from this channel, make sure you subscribe. If you'd like to also be a guest like my friend Chad was today, you can also email the show at superpowerreview9@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys real soon.